Hi, this is Tim Sanders, founder of the Omnia Radiation Balancer. Pretty soon there will be 5G masks going up all around us, and we want to make sure that you're giving yourself the best protection on the market. Our solution is unique. We use a new source of energy from the fifth dimension to balance radiation fields on any device, making it safe to use. Our results show that this structures water, it balances the blood, and it keeps your body super strong. And yes, it works on 5G. The energy in the patch never runs out, so count up all the radiating devices in your life, stick one on each, and you're done. Click on the link below and you'll soon be bringing balance and strength back to your body. Thank you.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Thank you.
First of all, thanks, Brooke. That was amazing. I mean, there's all these speakers. It take months to process all this information. If everybody's watching all these presenters, it's been fascinating. We are going to be introducing Misha Johnson. If any of you guys don't know who she is a second generational experiencer. She had her first experience at age 3. She had numerous contacts and abductions and has been involved with at least 7 different alien types, greys, insectoids, mammalians, reptilians, and human-looking groups. She has had many MILAB experiences and has been in the underground bases in which included a Black Ops branch of our government and some Grey and Reptilian factions. She has had 2 periods of missing time ranging from 7 to 8 months, which included a missing marriage she has no memory of. So if Misha is here, oh, there she is. How's it going, Misha?
Hi.
Welcome. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Thank you. And any first questions you have for me, or should I?
Yes, my understanding that you have a PowerPoint presentation you're wanting to present. So we'll turn it over to you and you can go ahead and get started with that. And then when we're done, we'll turn it over to the audience if they have any questions.
Okay. Let me just get to my, move that over. All right. Can you see that okay?
Yes, it looks great.
Perfect. All right. I am a certified hypnotherapist, and I specialize in past life experience, regressions for your ET experience, trauma recovery is a very large part of my clientele because I work with people who have been through the similar things that I've been through, as well as all ET experiencers, but trauma-based mind control, PTSD, ADD, ADHD is my specialties. And I also work with people in support groups. So in 1990, I started a support group, and I've been doing support groups ever since. Now I've moved to the internet, and I'm on Zoom now for the last 7 years. I've been in different formats, but now I'm on Zoom, and I have 9 experiencer groups. Let me just kind of go through the different kinds there are. So there's 12 groups a week, and these are all free groups. If you'd like to donate, I sure don't mind, but they're 3-hour groups. They are like I have one coming up Wednesday and Thursday. The Wednesday group is a light language group because I speak many different types of light language, many, like about 20 or so. And I also have taught it in the past. So then Thursday, I have a Starseed newly awakened group. And these groups are so dear to my heart because I went through my life without assistance and help. And it is so helpful to talk to other people about your experiences. So I also have a MILAB experiencer group, an MK-Ultra and Montauk, a super soldier and secret space program group, a target individual group, a DID and ritual abuse group, and a hybrid parent or hybrid themselves group, because that is, of course, definitely something that is real. And the last gal was talking about that. And to me, the hybrids are so very, very important to the mission of Earth. And I'm going to just go through a little bit of childhood and adolescent experience, my mission, my hybrid mission, because I'm also part of that hybrid program. My support groups I already went through, and my Galactic genealogy, planetary origin. That was a new mission that I have. So my life started at 3 years old. I saw these beings. They're little furry guys. I'd hear them in the middle of the night, and they would be like little squeaky noises. And then one night I finally did see them, 3 of them right underneath the stairs. And when I grew up, I went and of course saw Star Wars some years ago and saw the Ewoks and realized, wow, that is the same ones that I saw. So it's interesting. Hollywood has a few of the truths about ETs in it. I also had a connection with a willowy one that came into my life at about 6 years old. So from about 3 to 6, it was the little Bee Gees, the bears, I called them. And they used to take me flying. I remembered flying over the tops of the roof and into the ship. And then the willowy one came in about 6 years old and was with me all the way into my young adult life. And this one took me through my hybrid program. Also, this one is a little bit involved in the hybrid program and my protection, but I will talk about him just a bit later. So my experiences went on throughout my life. It seemed like I'd have several for a month, several in a month, and then nothing for maybe a year or two, and then another spree of them, and then gone again. And one particular time I was seeing what I thought was one of these grays like this. This is unfortunately my art. That's the ability I have of art. But they were little short grays. And then there was a tall one that looked more like this one here. And these little short grays would come to my window because it became such a normal thing. They'd come to my window and they'd look like little deers. And when I saw the deers, I would be standing there and I saw the deers and I knew it was time to go. One of the times during the experience, I saw one that looked like a gray, but it looked a little different. So I asked, can I touch you? And he let me touch him. And he had more of an alligator skin. So I'd say it was probably a reptilian gray hybrid. And then at 1966, so when I was like 16, I had an experience where I woke up and I was standing in there was a huge ship above me. It was, I was paralyzed, but I could kind of move my eyes. So I saw the ship, and then I felt something very tall behind me. I could just feel my senses, I'm psychic since a child. So I felt the sense of something very tall, and then I was out. And the next thing I knew, I was on a table, and I was being examined by these little gray guys, and they were doing something gynecological, which was very upsetting to me. And the willowy one, which is this one, peeked over and looked at me. He was like at the top of my head, and he peeked over and he looked down at me and he said in telepathic, "This is necessary for the hybrid program." And I did not know exactly what that was at all at that time, but I did find out later. And then at the same time, just about few minutes later, there was a 3 beings that were even taller than this taller gray. And they were standing kind of to the back, to the back of what I'd say maybe the ship, which the ship looked so huge inside. And they had hoods on, and I immediately had this feeling of a recognition, like you get a feeling of familiarity. And I looked at the one in the middle and I said, "I know you. I recognize you." And he dropped his hood, stepped forward, and I could see it was a reptilian, not this particular one, the one I showed you at first. This, and that would, then I went back fast asleep because I do not like reptiles, never did. I don't like anything about reptiles. So it's very odd that I should end up in experiences with them. And this was another experience with a reptile. This was the MILAB experiences. So I drew this picture of where, not my gray one, but another one. This one was a tall beige gray. And it was at least, well, I was much shorter, say at least 5.5, 6 feet tall. I was taken to an underground base, and I was taken there many, many times. So this is just one of the drawings that I did about it. I was either picked up by these gray beings, little short gray beings. So this was another type, or I was picked up by the reptile here, or like a reptoid. He's more of a reptoid, or I was taken by men in uniforms. Military. So I asked for help from my guides. I said, this is very scary. It was going on. My child was being abducted. I was very concerned for him because during one of my experiences, I was in an elevator going down the elevator, and there were people around me. There were people in pajamas, people in street clothes. I couldn't move my head. All I could do is look at the people in front of me. There was a man standing in a uniform, in like camo, only dark black camo uniform, standing at the door. And then when the elevator door opened, it opened up and they started shuffling us out. Now they kind of shuffled some people this way and some people to the right and some people to the left. And as I was being shuffled to the right, which was two people in uniforms, I saw, and lab coats, I saw my son in the other group who was 13 years old, and he was being taken to this tall, same beige type of gray that I'd had experience with. And so that was really startling. And so I asked the guides to please protect my family and myself. And I have had council presentations, or I should say standing in front of the council. But this particular time, they just sent me this being. He just showed up, and he showed up in this beautiful form of energy and light. And every time I would see him, it was absolutely kind and loving and gentle. And I never actually touched him until I never touched him at all. And so I didn't know because I thought it was just light. I was taken on board ship a few times. I was taken to classes and such that they do that. And then I, one night, after many months of seeing this being, I saw a human looking man, and he was very blonde, like light blonde, white hair like me. And he was very attractive. And I said, your energy, and now you're him. I want to know what you really look like. I know you are not this. I want to know. And he telepathically said, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? And I said, yes, I am. I want to know. And so he revealed himself as this reptilian. And I had known this very unconditional loving energy. So I wasn't concerned about being harmed by it, even though to me, he looked like a snake, and I didn't like that. But I come to find out that I had many lives myself as other ETs, and a couple of them actually had been reptilian, and one of them had been, well, actually two of them, both of them had been his spouse. So I knew that was the connection for me there. So my ETs have always worked with me, and when I was, I had the UFO Contact Center International here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I brought in speakers. And one night after a speaker had finished, I always have this kind of an open forum for anybody who wants to talk or what they've seen or what they've witnessed. And this gal was very upset and was talking about her experiences. And my Galactic said to me, it's time for you to start the group. You need a support group for people. And I'm, oh, no, I don't like groups. I don't like to talk. I'm an introvert. No. Then it happened 2 more times. And the last time, this girl was crying about how she can't live in her house. She's terrified. She's scared of the dark. And so they said it to me again. Now, each time it said it to me 2 other times, this time in a very powerful, strong voice. They said, it is now time to start the group. And so I stood up and I said, I'm going to start a support group. And that was in 1990. So in 1993, since I had teens who were having experiences and their friends had experience, I started a teen group. And it was the 1993, actually almost 1994, I started a group for parents and their children to come in and talk about these young children's. And a wonderful way to work with children is through their art. And so we would find ways to find out what they experienced. Their parents would have them draw art. They'd come to group and then they'd share their art. So in fact, I even encourage the adults to do that as well. So I had no intentions of being a hypnotherapist because in my life, and I'm just going to go very briefly into this because you read it, and so people understand. I was born into an MK-Ultra family. My father was my trauma-based mind control. He was the one that tortured me. Now, he also was mind control too, and he had been since he was a child. So it's a generational thing that continued on. And within this, started about 3 years old. I think it was really earlier, but I'm 3 years old is what I can remember. And so I'm going to just jump ahead. Then it continued on, and I had times where I was visiting my grandmother for periods of time, and she lived out on what they called Asylum Lane, and Asylum Lane had an asylum on it, and that was a lot more of my trauma-based control training and things that went on there to split my alters. So when they do a trauma on you, and I don't want to spend much time on this, but just so people understand, they have to split you. So they'll use electric shock, they'll use fear, they'll use terror, they'll have people killed in front of you. They will use hypnosis, they'll use drugs. And all of these methods are to split you into this dissociated time where they can then take those dissociated alters and they can program them to do whatever they want. So then I didn't seem to, really remember my childhood ever. So that's about all I remember of my childhood. I don't remember my senior graduation. I don't remember anything like that because I was under this control so much. And so I believe there was a lot of alters out there living my life as well. And if you have any questions, just pop in if you're confused or anything like that, fellas. So, so then let's go on, because if people want to know about this, they can read it in a book, or I have many YouTubes out there about my own experiences, so you can get into more detail. But just to briefly touch on, checking my time here, just to briefly touch on the experience as a young adult at 17. I was checking out college. A man came up to a group of my friends and myself as we were there for that college day. And he said, hey, does anybody want to make money to go to college? Because we have a dream study and you can make lots of money on this dream study. Just have to go and do dreams. We watch you dream. We put you on a machine and we learn a lot about your dreams and everything. So I went ahead and did that because I needed help with college. I needed to be able to have some finances. So the next couple of days after that, I went into a brownstone building just on the edge of the campus. It was really still considered on the campus, and saw people in lab coats. They hooked me up and put me to sleep. And that was the last thing I remembered until 8 months later. I'm cross country in Seattle. I ended up through this time, which I have my wedding certificate. My family went to the wedding, even though they hated the man and felt that I was controlled. I was married. So what this man did was he put me in this, what they call driving program. It is a driving program where they keep you asleep for days, weeks, months at a time. And they also pull you out with your alters and your program used. And I ended up used in the Monarch and Beta program. And that is the sex slave program. And that is the program that they're used very highly now. And they even use it in the pedophilia and the trafficking. And they use that for people who, like judges and lawyers and governors, so that they can blackmail them. So I was also a courier. I was many, many, many things. I had 4 altars that they had made. Plus, I had some other altars, but were in the integration system, and I was able to integrate them in groups, and I integrated them all. And now I realize how there's so many people going through all of these things, and so I wanted to help other people. So that's really all I'll go into about that, just to help you understand why it's so important for me to help people who have gone through all of these things, including, of course, the ET experiences. And so I spoke Galactic language throughout my life because I had interfaced and contact with the ETs. So on more positive experiences, I was in a hybrid presentation and program. And my first presentation was a little being that was kind of put in my hands and cupped in my hands, and I immediately bonded with him. And the willowy one, which is the tall white one that I think I showed you already, but anyway, it was a tall white one. And he was there. There was also a nursemaid that looked very much like him. And they said to me telepathically, this is a success. And then they also showed me how some people would be very upset about their being handed a baby that looked like an alien with, larger eyes and not quite so normal. And they would back off. One man dropped the child. Other people screamed and ran and different things like that. But they were very happy that it was a success, that I bonded. And I think that put me in play to be a hybrid parent. Maybe that's not the only reason, but indeed that was one of them. The next child was a little blonde girl, looked very much like her. Her hair was blonde, but I was presented her. Another time I was presented this little fellow, who this was after in the 90s. I was presented him, and this was after I had met Ayano. And I'd known that there had never been any physical touch with Ayano, had never had any dreams, any memories, or anything of any physical touch. One time I did have an experience where he was hovering above me, about this far above me, and I could feel this amazing Kundalini energy, a very spiritual energy, I might add. And I know that reptilians are not really everybody's cup of tea, but there's so many, 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 many different reptilians. And I'm going to be showing you just a few of the different types and where they're from a bit later. So when I went to the nursery, I was saw these children, and the children kind of started stepping aside. And these children were very, very thin and they had the wispy cotton candy hair. All of them looked different colors and different ways, but still they all had the same kind of form and size. But in walks this little squattier little fellow, and he would look like he was to be maybe 2 years old or so, 3 years old maybe in size, but yet he still looked like a baby, but he was very big in size. So he looked like about a 3-year-old child. And I asked, who? They said, this is yours. And I said, who's the father? And they said, well, it's Ayano, and who you call Ayano, and the all. And the all means many genetics go into it. You cannot have just 50-50 genetics. It's impossible in the hybrid program. I'm sure they found that out very early. In fact, I had been told during one of my hybrid experiences that there was some young, older children, and they told me that at that time. And of course, this was really early, in the early 70s. They said that it is hard for them to live past what your teen years are. So, but they were working on this hybrid program. So that's the hybrid program. And this is my hybrid. And then this is my adult hybrid who came to me. Now, I don't know if they're the same child, but this one, I was in a nursery, and the first time I saw him, I was in the nursery and he was in back, and there was a lot of other children, different colors, different kind of animal looking beings. This is a very important factor that happens, that just like we have animals on Earth here, I believe the genetics have been working since the beginning of time. We've had galactics coming in. And so there's some feline beings and dog type beings and monkey beings, all kinds of different beings. And but they were children at all different ages. And I said, well, which one's mine? And they said they all are. And that was, say, something around 13, 16, something like that. So very much in the hybrid program. That's also why I work with people who are in need to find out about their own experience. This is my own hybrid grandson. And I believe that the hybrid children are the future. The hybrid children that are coming in now are the most special children. They're our galactics are putting them into places of importance, militarily, probably in the politics and theologies and all aspects of life. They're being put, and they already have been. This little child now is 13 years old. So the hybrid programs, who knows how long it's been going on. I would say it's been going on for decades, to tell you the truth. But the ones that are coming in now, and I have two new hybrid grandkids, they are uniquely different. They're very kind, loving, very, very, very loving. And I know, I'm sure a lot of other hybrid parents out there can attune to this. They're loving. They don't quite understand other children and the way they are mean. I have another grandchild who is not a hybrid, and the little hybrid little fellow, when they get together, he just cannot understand her actions. I also wanted to tell you that there's also a hybrid program within the government. Excuse me, I had this cough here a little bit. Okay, so just to quickly go over this, the hybrid program in the MILAB, whether it's MILAB and Mk-Ultra, all the different parts of it, the pedophilia, unfortunately, the targeting, the trafficking and stuff. These are some of the things that they use the kids for. And these are kids that this young man told me about, who had lived this. And I know lots and lots of people who have been in the adoption system or been in the CPS system, who have ended up in these underground facilities being used like these children are. And so just to go quickly, we've got remote viewing, we've got time travel, we have a hybrid program, so they crossbred, and I've seen this, children with animals. They're looking for AI information, so they've crossbred and transhumanized children and animals. And this is like a little AI child, actually, not a real child, more of a hybrid clone. So I think I'm just going to pass on that one and go right to the rest of it. So as I said, the galactic genealogy is so important. And so my galactics have forced me to every book I've written 3 books now, and they have not forced me, but they've encouraged me highly to write these books. The first 2 about my own experience, and then this one about the Galactic. So everyone wanted to know what their galactic planet of origin. They wanted to know what their mission is. They wanted to know where they came, what they looked like when they were living in other planets. So I put together this illustrated book of color, and that helps people a lot because it helps them. I also, at the same time, they wanted me to put a chart together of all the major, like we have Arcturian, Alpha Centaurian, and talking Beltrix, Orion, and Lyran, many of the different ones, as you can see. And with a pendulum, I dowse for people to find out what their mission is, what their planet of origin is. Of course, their mission comes in with the cards that I do as well. So I'll tell you about those later. But so I wanted to get to the different types of beings up there here. So we have Andromedans. There's many different types of Andromedans. These are just a couple of examples of people's experience. Many of these are from a huge binder I have that people have given me for the years of their experience. This is very interesting. These are Apollonians, and the Apollonians are a feline kind of race. They have little long tails, they have the ears and such. And as you can see, they look very much, and this is a picture of the avatar, but in my book, I have another picture because I couldn't do that, of the avatars. So it's very interesting. I think that there's more truth to that movie than they want you to believe. So the Arcturians, there's white ones, there's blue ones, there's tall ones, there's short ones of these types. The Beltrexi Orions, you've got humans of all races, you've got hybrid races, you have gray, different types of gray races, you have different types of reptilian races that live within Beltrix Orion. The Chiron race is the bird race and was one of the very first races after Lyran. Lyran was the very first one to really, that's like the seat of humanity. That is the start of humans and humanoids. So, but there was the Carians as well, and the Carians would come in, were coming in visiting back in Egypt and Sumeria, and they're in all of history. The Draconians also are, there's, in the underground bases, is the best way I can tell you. In the underground bases, I believe that they are working with reptoids, draconians, alpha draconians, because those are 2 different things, and raptors. Now, I've seen reptoid, raptor, and I'm going to try to briefly tell you, I'm not going to have time to tell you about this, but just to let you know that one time during my lab experience, this fellow was in a room with me, and I said telepathically, because I had been used for interfacing for a long time, so I knew he could hear me and I could hear him. And I said, "Why are you invading our planet?" And he sent back this very heavy energy, and he said, "It's because it's our planet, not your planet." And he showed me a vision of all these dinosaurs and different prehistoric animals running from all these comets that were coming down. And then he also told me that the comets were coming from ships, and this was, or were actually what they were not coming from ships, but they were detoured by ships. And it was an extinction. It was one of the extinctions to this planet Earth. And he said many of us that were more intelligent and smaller went underneath ground. And he said, and I am the one, we have evolved to who you see now. This one was another
Misha?
and
Misha, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, just giving you a heads up, we have about 5 minutes left already, and then we can turn it over, open it up for a couple questions.
Okay. All right. All right. So then this one I was taken, and it was a very long story. So you can find that out if you want to read my book or something like that. it was a scary, and it involved military and lieutenant colonel and other people. So they work with them. So we have Fomalhaults. So Fomalhaults have reptilians and all kinds of humans. Now, Iargans are a type of beings that are kind of a amphibian. They mate for life. You've got Lyrans. You have Lyrans and a bird race that not necessarily is a Chiron race, but it is more of a mammal, and all kinds of humans. You've got Mars and Maldeki. When there was life, it was teeming with different types now of this. Now it is more this type, and there's other types. There's a mantid type as well. According to the Secret Space Program, there's many different types of ET still there. Another group of the Orion have more of the unusual types of ETs that came from other universes, all types of grays and humans. The Pleiadians are all humans, different types of humans. The Procyons are Lyrans and Sirians. The Sirians are where the whales and dolphins came from. Also, they have all different races, including the reptilians. They have this also where the myth and where the amphibian mermaids came from. The Talcedians are many different races, as you can see, many different. They even have a bear race. It's a big bears and large. And I think this is probably where my Bee Gees, the bears, might have come from, but I don't know for sure. The Tulesian Agarthans are the people that live in the inner earth at Mount Shasta and the North Pole, or Anarch or whatever. And then we have Venetians, which is Valiant Thor. And I know everybody knows about Valiant Thor, who met with Eisenhower and the chiefs of staff back in the 59 to 60s, stayed there and brought a treaty that he wanted to. He said, if you drop your weapons, if you stop building the bomb, if you stop warring, and you can join the Galactic, you can join us with, age will be eradicated. You won't age past 30, or I should say, disease will be eradicated. You won't age past 30. You'll have free energy and all these amazing things. And of course, we declined and instead put a treaty together with a gray race, not a Zeta Reticula, but a gray race. And speaking of Zeta Reticula, my being is from Zeta Reticula. The other groups, this is called the willowy one because he didn't have any bones. Then there's different groups. There's the gray. There's a gray race too. So there's many different types of grays. There's many different types of reptilians. So this is the mantid race. There's many types of mantis, many types of reptilians, amphibian reptilians, white reptilians, benevolent and malevolent. There's tall whites, which right out here at Creech Air Force Base they've been seen by Charles Hall and other people. There's the little short guys, very strange, other strange ones. These are types that have been seen on military bases. These are types that were seen at casinos here in Las Vegas, where one of the guys in my group took the picture of them. And when he got down to the table after being in his security booth, they were gone. Nobody was there. The dealer said nobody had been at her table, so they can be visible. And interestingly, they look very much like the other ones seen in the bases. And that is it. So I open to questions. I'll just kind of...
Yeah, so I don't know exactly if we have a whole lot of time for questions here, but that was amazing. We definitely don't have time for all the questions. There has been a ton of them. We have to be here for 2 more hours.
Yeah. I can cut things out. I'm at cards.
So, yeah, thank you so much.